Aussie larrikin who fleeced a major bank of more than $1.5 million, living the life of a high roller. David Richardson with the story and what happened when he eventually turned himself in.
It's June 2011. In a luxury hotel suite in Sydney, a 29-year-old man named Dan Saunders sits on the edge of the bed with a phone pressed to his ear. The line is silent. He has been on hold for 15 minutes. On the floor next to him is a Hilton laundry bag. Inside the laundry bag is $80,000 in cash. He is calling the National Australia Bank. He is not calling to report a problem with his account. He is not calling to dispute a transaction. He is calling because over the past 4.5 months, he has withdrawn more than $1.6 million from their ATMs. He has spent almost all of it, and the police have not come for him yet. So he is calling to turn himself in. This is the story of how a bartender from a country town in Victoria stumbled into what was, in effect, an infinite money glitch at one of Australia's largest banks. He cannot get anyone to stop him, and in the end, he cannot even get anyone to arrest him. Wangaratta is a town in northeastern Victoria, 3 hours north of Melbourne. In early 2011, Dan Saunders lives there and works as a bartender at the Bull's Head Hotel. He's 29 years old, a big, genial man. He has never been in trouble with the police. He has never even held a driver's license. His father, a Melbourne television newsreader, tried hard to instill a strong sense of right and wrong in his son. He died when Dan was 15. A Catholic education at Christian Brothers reinforced those values. Saunders left school in year 11 and went to work in the pubs. From 18 to 22, he worked at Melbourne's Crown Casino.
He watched how the very wealthy lived. He remembered all of it.
By 2011, he is back in country Victoria, tending bar in Wangaratta. He has a partner of 4 years, a religious education teacher. His weekly wage is around 700 Australian dollars. His savings account on this particular night contains $3. It is a late night in February. Saunders is drinking with friends at the Bull's Head Hotel. He runs out of cash. The next round will have to go on his MasterCard. He walks out of the pub and turns the corner to the nearest National Australia Bank ATM. The street is empty. The screen is the brightest thing on the block. He inserts the card, punches in his PIN, and asks the machine to show him his MasterCard balance. The machine thinks for a moment, then tells him, "Balance unavailable at this time." He has never seen that message before. He decides to try the transfer anyway. $200 from his MasterCard into his savings account. He confirms. The machine pauses. The screen says, "Transaction canceled." The card slides out of the slot. He stands on the empty street holding the card. Puzzled, he reinserts it. He checks his savings account. The screen tells him the account contains $203. The day before, it had contained $3. Sweet, he thinks. He withdraws $200 in cash and walks back to the Bull's Head Hotel. His friends are still at the table. He puts the new round on the bar.
Nobody asks where the money came from.
Later that night, on the walk home, he passes the same ATM. He stops. Let me see, he thinks, if that still works. He inserts the card, balance unavailable. He transfers another $200. The machine accepts the transfer. This is like a magic show, he thinks. Let's see how much I can get. He transfers and withdraws $500. Then another $500. Then $600. He has 2 NAB cards, a MasterCard and a Visa debit, each with a daily limit of $1,000. So he maxes them both out, walks home with $2,000 in cash, and goes to bed. When he wakes up the next morning, he is convinced he must have dreamt the entire thing.
Then he reaches for his wallet.
It is full of cash. He walks back to the same ATM and checks his accounts. There are no new transactions on either card, but his savings account, which had $3 the day before, is now showing a debit of $1,997. What Saunders has just committed under Australian law is theft by finding. It carries a jail term, but he does not see it as theft. He sees it as a loophole.
And in a way, he's right.
What he has just stumbled into is a quirk in how NAB's ATMs operate when they lose their connection to the bank's central systems. The machine still allows transfers up to a daily limit while offline. It queues the transfer and processes the debit once reconnected. That is the theory. In practice, in 2011, in this Wangaratta ATM, something else happened. Saunders loses almost all of his windfall within days, most of it on the punt, and at the bar. He is now overdrawn by nearly $2,000. On a wage of $700 a week, it would take him months to pay back. So that night, he returns to the same ATM. The trick works again. He transfers $2,000 from his credit card to his savings. For good measure, he does it a second time. By the time he walks away, His savings account is $2,000 in credit. His MasterCard shows no record of the transfer. He has realized something. If he keeps track of his transactions and each night transfers a little more than what he spent, he can stay one step ahead of the bank's computer.
Each nightly transfer buys him another 24 hours.
He starts gambling, heavily. For the next 2 weeks, he tries to win NAB's money back on the horses. By his own admission, he is the worst punter in Australia. It doesn't matter. Whatever he loses, he wipes away at the same Wangaratta ATM. By early March, he is $20,000 down. The savings account is still showing as in credit. Then, one night, he panics and stops the transfers. The full deficit appears in his account. So he tries something else. He transfers $60,000 from his MasterCard into his savings. The transfer goes through, but the ATM will not let him withdraw the cash. His MasterCard, which had a $1,000 credit limit, is now showing $62,000 in debt. He thinks the bank has finally caught him. He drives back to the ATM anyway. He inserts the card. He selects transfer. The menu loads. Savings, credit card, check account, MasterCard, Visa. He only has a MasterCard. He does not own anything called a credit card account. The option does not, as far as he understands, refer to anything in his name, but he chooses it anyway. He punches in $65,000. The screen pauses. Then, transaction canceled. The card is ejected. He thinks he is finished. He drives home expecting to find the police at the door. The next morning, he walks back to the ATM with a knot in his stomach. He checks his balances. His MasterCard is $3,000 in credit. The $65,000 has gone through, not instantly, overnight, from a credit card he does not own. He later put it like this: "It occurred to me that this was not real money. It was just numbers flying back and forth." He had found it. The credit card option from a credit card that did not exist worked all day at any NAB ATM. He never fully understood why. The key was simple. Keep the savings and MasterCard accounts in credit. Make the nightly transfers from the imaginary card. The system would replenish itself.
He had access to an infinite money glitch, and the bank had no idea.
The first thing it costs him is his job. One quiet Tuesday night in late February, while running the pub's in-house Tab betting agency, he wagers heavily on the dogs and trots. The next day, Tab Corp reports the night's turnover to hotel management. It is more than the whole venue normally takes in 3 weeks. The pub assumes he has been robbing the till. Nothing is missing, but Tab Corp removes his authorization to run betting. The pub has no choice but to sack him. Interestingly, the Tab has no problem with the $40,000 Saunders has by then deposited with its online subsidiary, LuxBet. The second thing it cost him is his partner. She watches him go out drinking every night, always stopping at the NAB ATM. She hears rumors he is dealing drugs. She sees him and his friends throw cash on the floor of a pub, betting on how long it takes a stranger to pick it up. He tries to explain. She refuses to believe him. She dumps him by text message. A month into the scam, Saunders is unemployed and single. He drives back to Melbourne and gathers his closest friends. Some tell him to stop. They say it will come crashing down. Others say turning it down would be like owing a Ferrari and refusing to drive it.
Saunders chooses the Ferrari.
What follows is 4 months of a life he has spent the last 10 years watching other people live. He dresses in Hugo Boss and carries Louis Vuitton. He moves between Melbourne and Sydney in limousines, helicopters, and chartered private jets. He eats Coffin Bay oysters, 24 at a time. He hires high-class escorts in 5-star hotels. $9,000 in a single night is nothing. And NAB, meanwhile, is right there, watching. The bank's fraud team calls him regularly. They want to verify the large purchases. "Is that you, Mr. Saunders?" "Yes," he replies. "That's me." "Oh, no problem, Mr. Saunders. Sorry to bother you." They send him letters. The letters include up-to-date summaries of how much he has spent so far. By April, the panic attacks start. The first major one hits in the foyer of Sydney's Shangri-La Hotel. His heart is jackhammering. He is sweating through his Hugo Boss shirt. He sits down before his legs give out. A doctor happens to be passing. He takes Saunders' pulse. He tells him he is having a panic attack and may be working too hard. He writes a script for Valium and has it sent up to Saunders' room. Saunders thanks him with a bottle of French champagne. One afternoon in May, Saunders is walking past a National Australia Bank shopfront in Sydney. He glances at the window. In the reflection on the glass, the lowercase NAB logo reads backwards. It reads Dan. That is his name. He stops on the pavement. He takes it as a sign. Either the universe is telling him this thing is reaching its end, or he is descending into madness. He is no longer sure which. By Easter 2011, he has more than $1.6 million on his MasterCard, transferred from the imaginary credit card. He is in Sydney. He could move the money offshore and disappear. He thinks about it. But that would mean leaving his family and friends, becoming a different person, a crook. He is exhausted. The panic attacks are getting worse.
In June 2011, he decides to stop.
He says goodbye to his new friends. He does not tell them what he's about to do. Then he waits. 2 weeks pass. No detectives, no phone calls, no knock at the door. He goes to a lawyer, who assures him the Victorian fraud squad will eventually come. Saunders does not want to wait. So he rings the bank. He's put on hold. The receiver hums. He sits down on the edge of the bed. 15 minutes pass. Then a voice. An older gentleman. He introduces himself as Bernie. "We won't be giving you any more money," Bernie says. "And we're pretty sure you know why." Saunders opens his mouth. He wants to tell Bernie about the laundry bag on the floor. He wants to tell Bernie that the bank is welcome to come and collect the $80,000 that are inside it. Bernie does not give him the chance. The matter, he says, is now in the hands of the police. The line clicks dead. Saunders sits on the edge of the bed with the receiver still in his hands. He listens to the dial tone. Then he puts the phone down. Then he does what, by his own description, any sane normal person would do. He stays in the suite. He empties the laundry bag into the bathtub, and he keeps spending until the bath is empty again. He later admits, drawing his inspiration from Hollywood.
Then he waits for the police to arrive.
They do not arrive. Weeks pass, then months, then years. In late 2014, more than 3 years after the scam ended, Saunders is still waiting. The bank did not formally lodge a complaint with police until 2013. NA has been, in the words of one source, reluctant to cooperate with the investigation. During the wait, Saunders gives interviews to the Sydney Morning Herald and a television current affairs program, his identity disguised, describing the entire scheme. Nothing happens. He says he has felt like a frog in a blender, waiting for someone to push the button. In the meantime, he takes a job as a waiter at a Melbourne restaurant and is promoted to general manager. In January 2013, convinced the new owners are about to defraud the staff of unpaid wages, he lets himself in after midnight on 3 separate nights and takes $21,000 from the safe. He says he distributed it to the staff. He says he would not have had the confidence to do it if it had not been for the NAB.
It is the restaurant theft that finally gets him caught.
On the 6th of November 2014, Saunders is arrested in Melbourne and charged with 111 offenses related to fraud and theft. The charges cover the entire ATM scheme. In May 2015, in the County Court of Victoria, sitting in Wangaratta, he pleads guilty to all 111 counts. He is sentenced to 12 months in prison, followed by an 18-month community corrections order. The rest of the $1.6 million is gone. He is released in 2016. He has since given interviews to Newsweek and Vice. He has said he has no regrets. NAB has never publicly described what the glitch actually was. A bank spokesperson tells reporters that the money Saunders spent did not come from other depositors, which means the bank generates the cash from nowhere, and the loss has been written off as a bad debt. The shareholders absorbed it. And one more detail. After everything, Dan Saunders still has an account with the National Australia Bank. The bank's public position is that Saunders' glitch was a one-off, since corrected. Cybersecurity experts do not believe this. If one bartender in a country town drinking after work could stumble across a way to create money out of nothing, then professional criminals were almost certainly doing the same thing, quietly, for much larger sums, and without ever picking up a phone to confess. Dan Saunders is the only person who has ever publicly told the story of what happened inside the ATM in Wangaratta.